Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to Legends of the Five Rings card game unboxing. This is for the core game that came out. This is for the living card game version of it by Fantasy Flight. So I did video part 1 where I went through a big overview of the game, went through all the rules, explained how the cards work, how the turn play works, all that fun stuff. So that way we have an understanding of what everything does. So when we look at the cards, as we're going in this video, you'll kind of know what's going on. So if you skipped out on part 1, that's what that was. So in part 2 here, we are going to go over our strongholds, our providences, and then our dynasty deck, which are all the cards that get played each turn over our provinces. And they're kind of like our pseudo hand. They stay on the table, but they get refreshed occasionally. And then in video part 3, we will go over the conflict cards and any other additional little components that we have, so our role cards and stuff like that. So come back if you want to see what's in there. This might be a little bit longer video because, again, here's our dynasty deck, and for the most part, there's only one copy of each of these cards. But we want to go through these. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into this. So we're gonna look at our strongholds, which have the same backs as our provinces. They all share the same exact backs. But we're going to jump into these. So we have our different clans, of course. So we have our 7 different clans. We'll just kind of do a quick review of those. We have, each one is going to have their own different theming and different styles of gameplay and stuff they do. We have Crab, Crane, Dragon, Lion, Phoenix, Scorpion, and Unicorn. So each one's gonna have, again, like a little bit different stuff. The Crane, for example, is going to do a lot more political stuff than some of the other ones. Dragon's gonna have a lot more attachments. Lion tends to be more war, military driven. I know Scorpion tends to do a lot more stuff with Imperial, but they also tend to do more kind of like side steamy, twisty stuff. The Unicorn does a lot more of the cavalry units. And Crab, I think, has like high defense. I forgot exactly what Phoenix does. But we'll kind of get into that. We'll see as we're going through, start going through all the cards, you'll start noticing very common themes with each card. So, like I did say in the first video, in case you didn't watch it, this does come with 1 copy of each card, with the exception of a few of the classless cards. I forgot what they're exactly called. The ones that don't belong to any clans. That might have 2 copies of for some of the, especially some of the conflict and other cards. So yeah, if you want to buy a full set, you can just pick up a base game and then play it. But if you want to have a full experience, to be able to really customize your decks, you may want to get a second, potentially a third copy of the base set, so you have 2 to 3 copies of every card. That's the maximum amount you can have in your deck. You'll end up with a bunch of duplicates of the unclanged cards, but you know, in the strongholds and the provinces, which you can only have 1 of anyhow. Although the upside about having some of the extra provinces is they do have a bunch of the other, again, clanless ones. So I'll help everybody be able to make up their decks a little bit better. So if you have 2 players making up decks, you'll have some different options as well. So I would almost recommend getting at least a second one, so that way you have more options to do that. So it's not I play these half, you play these half of the provinces, because that's how it is right now. It gives you some options. You might have a little bit of crossover of the same ones. And again, if you pick up a third one, you can have a little bit more differentiating there. But then it also gives you an option to have potentially up to 3 cards. Any expansion pack or box you buy in the future, which we'll do videos for, there will be 3 copies of any card that you are legally allowed to have 3 copies of the deck. If there's only 1 copy, it's a card like a stronghold, which you can only have 1 in the deck anyhow. So they basically designed them to be made for one player to buy to be able to use. So if you are starting to, like, if you really want to do lots of mixing and matching, like, you know, I want this and I want to be able to borrow some cards from this clan, then you might have to buy more packs per each player might need to buy their own set of cards. But that's more up to each player to decide to do. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and hop into these. We're going to look at our strongholds first. So just a couple of things to remember on here is up at the top, this is their additional defense that goes past their province that they would be on. So this will give them an additional thing, because all your provinces will have a number at the top, like 4s, 3s, 2s, 5s. So this gives them an additional amount with your strongholds. This is what you're trying to defend at the end of the game. The little star or flower icon means it's a unique card. There's only one copy of this. Then we have, of course, a keyword, which is castle. At the bottom here for all of our strongholds, we have our honor. Here's starting honor, the Shiro Nishiyama, and I'm going to butcher names left and right. I apologize, I'll try my best, but I probably will butcher a lot of these. So you get 10 honor. Every turn you'll get 7 fate. Use the spend to buy stuff. And it does have 10 foundation, I believe what they're called, for deck building. So if you want to add up to 10 bamboo worth of additional cards from non-clans. Alright, so we're going to jump into this. So we have our crab, which is a cast. This is action. During the conflict, bow this stronghold. So bowing is then turning it sideways. Each defending character you control gets +1 military and +1 political might until the end of the conflict. So this is a very good stronghold to have out. Basically, at any time during one of your during one of the 4 conflicts, actually, but it'd probably be during the 2 because you're defending. You can actually just boost your guys up by 1, which might be just enough to keep you from losing. Right? Very simple. Alright, then for our crane, we have the Shizuku Toshi, and I'm not going to always read all the costs and everything. So we have city, it says action. During a political conflict, bow the stronghold. Choose a participating character with a political skill 2 or lower and bow that character. Ooh, so this is fun. So what this will let you do is, instead of giving you an additional amount, this will let you basically... You can bow one of your opponent's characters, and now they're no longer part of the conflict. You can basically tell them, hey, we're in this political argument. You aren't allowed to be in part of my argument. You're not skilled enough to be part of this political debate. Which then removes them, which means gives you a better chance of winning. So that's pretty cool. What's also nice, because it doesn't have to be during an attack. It can be during defending as well. They can come in and attack you. Bring a political argument towards you, and you could be like, hey, that guy's not allowed in my castle, right? So that's kind of fun. Alright, for the Dragon Clan, we have Mountains Anvil Castle. Ooh, that looks pretty sweet. So another castle, it says in action. During a conflict, bow this stronghold. Choose a participating character with 1 or more attachments on it. Till the end of the conflict, that character gets +1 military and +1 political. +2 and +2 instead if it has 2 or more attachments on. So this works really well with the Dragon Clan. As we'll see, they like to play around with attachments. There are other cards that let you do attachments as well, but this would be a big theming for them. So yeah, definitely nice. If there's at least 1 attachment, it gets 1 bonus. So like, you can always look at this though. It says during a conflict, if you compare this and I'm not going to go back and forth a ton on these, but I just want to compare this to that first one. So this one, I always bow it to gain +1/+1. This one bows to bare minimum, as long as they have an attachment, gain +1/+1. So why wouldn't you like this one better? Obviously, play styles, of course, if you want dragon versus crab cards. But big noticeable differences. This is only each defending character. This doesn't care. This can be attacking or defending. And plus, if they have more attachments, you can get potentially +2/+2 instead. So you could get them a little bit higher, and it can go for anybody, but the offset of it is you have to wait till they have attachments, which aren't going to happen necessarily in the first or second round of the game, maybe. They could take 3 or 4 rounds to get into there. It's just kind of the difference there. Alright, for the Lions, we have Yojin no Shiro. which is another castle. Action. During conflict, battle the stronghold, each attacking character you control gets +1 military until the end of conflict. So this one just only works for attacking characters, but unlike the crab one, it's going to give all your characters, so you could give multiple guys additional +1, but it's only going to be military might. So if you're doing a military conflict and all of a sudden your opponent switches to political, now you've lost the bonus this gives. So it's very strategic. It's very cool. Alright, for the Phoenix, we have Isawa Mori Saito, which is a shrine. Action. Battle the stronghold, choose a character. That character gets +2 glory till the end of phase. So this will help you gain additional bonuses otherwise. At the end, you might get the Imperial Favor for having more glory. Plus, it also works with the honored cards. As a character's glory to its military and political skills. So let's say now if you're adding +2 to its glory, it's basically getting +2 on that. On the other hand, though, if you're dishonored, you're going to subtract that glory. So you could choose a character to get +2 glory, give a +2 glory to a dishonored character, and then now they get -2. So it's kind of a neat way, is depending on who you're playing it on, you can use various advantages for it. Alright, we have City of the Open Hand, which is a city. So action. If you're less honorable than your opponent, battle the stronghold, take 1 honor from that player. So this one might not have as continuously as good of an effect, but at least it's nice to be like, if you fall behind, you can at least even it back up after a little bit. And this could be very great, like you are just, maybe if you're only 1 behind, right, then maybe you could always draw a bigger hand size of cards, because you could opt to spend more honor, and then you might lose some to give to your opponent, and all of a sudden, hey, now I can bow this, and I can gain 1 of my honor back, right? So it's kind of some interesting different stuff you can do with that. Again, we'll see it more of these interact when we see more of their cards. And then we have the Golden Plains Outpost for the Unicorn, which is an outpost, and action during a military conflict. Battle the stronghold, choose a cavalry character you control, and move it to that conflict. So this is the only one, so it's the one that doesn't actually gain a direct bonus, but it's going to let you add an additional character into a conflict. So you could go ahead and, like, I'm going to do a military conflict with this one guy, and your opponent's like, well, I'm going to defend with this guy who can definitely take it out, and then like they're going to play an action card and boost this guy. You can be like, oh, well, I'm going to move this other guy into my field to help me out. So that's pretty cool there. Alright, so those are our 7 different strongholds. These are basically our bases. There's 1 for each color, and again, it's going to basically determine what deck you're using. Then we have 7 provinces, 1 for each color, specific to each color, so obviously you're going to include this with whatever color you're playing. They do have the little symbols on the bottom for the elements. You have to have 1 of each, and this is where I did say why you might want to buy multiple, if you might want to share some of the unclanned ones, because otherwise you're going to be stuck with, there's enough for each player to have 1 set of each, but no one's going to ever copy the same ones. And if you get a second set, then you can start maybe, oh, I really want this air one, but I also want this air one. So it's kind of interesting there. Alright, so for Crab, we have Defend the Wall. So reaction, after you win a conflict at this province, resolve the ring effect that the conflict as if you're the attacking player. So this is kind of cool. So even if when you're defending against your opponent, they're attacking, they defend this province, you get to resolve that thing. So you might spend a little extra stuff to make sure that you win the defensiveness. So pretty cool. Alright, we got, for Crane, we have the Art of Peace. Interrupt. When this province is broken, dishonor each attacking character and honor each defending character. One does not always need to kill to be victorious. Kakata's the Sword. So this is cool. If you're gonna lose it anyhow, at least here you can dishonor all your opponent's characters, and then you can honor all your defending ones. So if if they didn't lose and are not defeated and removed from the game. Right, so that way it's kind of, if they don't get defeated and get removed, yeah, then they get a comeback. Because when you finish a conflict, they don't defeat the other player and remove them. They just get bowed and they get removed, and then eventually their fate will disappear and they'll get removed. So this could be a great way to like help do that. And that way, if like let's say you dishonor all like 2 of your opponent's characters, and all of a sudden that was their last of their fate, and they get removed, they lose 2 extra honor. So it could be a nice way to like maybe hit them for a bunch of stuff, or if they attack with a big group of characters. Cool. For Dragon, we have Restoration of Balance. Reaction. After this province is revealed, your opponent chooses and discards cards from his or her hand until the player has 4 or fewer cards in hand. Ooh. So that's kind of cool. It is a reaction, so you, like lots of the stuff with the province, depends if your opponent's attacking that one or not. And this one's only going to hit at certain times, so they might not have a lot in their hand when it happens. But if they do, this could definitely hurt them. So if they attack it, you could, that could affect them very deeply. For Lying, we have the Art of War. Interrupt. When this province is broken, draw 3 cards. So you lose the province, but you get a hand back. Let your enemies see what he wishes to see, so that he will underestimate you. Akado's leadership. For the Phoenix, we have Kurl Mori. Action. During a conflict, at this province, select 1. Switch the contested ring with an unclaimed ring. Conflict retains its type. Or switch the conflict type. The conflict retains its element. So this is actually pretty cool. So what this means is if they're attacking with, they're doing a military conflict, you could opt to switch it to a political, which might be definitely more to your advantage. Like if they're attacking with a 7 military guy, a 1 political guy, you could switch it around, so now they only have 1 power attacking you. Or alternatively, if you're not too worried about what their stats are, but maybe you want a different ring, whether it's because they have an effect that gets boosted. They might have a character that says if you're doing an air conflict, that character gets a boost, you might switch it to an earth conflict. Or maybe you don't want them to get the air bonus if you know they're going to win. Or if you know that you have a way of winning it somehow, or defending, you might have a way to activate and trigger off that if you saw that 1 card. You might want to switch to something that's more beneficial to you. Or, again, that might not hurt you. So it's kind of a neat strategy. Then for Scorpion, we have the Secret Cache. Reaction. After the conflict is declared against this province, search the top 5 cards of your conflict deck for a card. Add it to your hand and shuffle. So this is neat, because there's generally probably not a ton of ways to like get to pick out exactly what you want, but this is great, because then you can be like, hey, I see you attacking. This is exactly what I need to go against you. We have Endless Plains for the Unicorn. Reaction. After an attack is declared here, break this province. Your opponent choosing an attacking character, discard that character. Ooh. So you do lose this province very quickly, but your opponent has to lose an attacking character. If they're only attacking with like 1 big guy, they risked it all and gambled on this, then they're going down. And plus, it's only 2, so it's not going to be very hard to beat. So, interesting. That's cool. And then we have some ones that aren't part of the clans. We have Ancestral Lands. It says this province is +5 strength during political conflicts. Our claim on these lands stretches back to the dawn of the empires. So this is one that, again, can be included in any deck. Now, it does, just point out here, does have the mountain symbol on it. So, each one of the other ones have different symbols on the bottom. And some are obviously going to be the same. But you wouldn't be able to use this crab one, which has a mountain, and this one at the same time. So, that's just one of them things where it's like, how that would work. We have Elemental Fury. Reaction. After this province is revealed, switch the contested ring with an unclaimed ring. As you can see, the unclaimed ones aren't necessarily as powerful or don't have as cool of abilities, but that's because they're available to everybody. Entrenched position. This province is +5 strength during political conflicts. Although at that could be very powerful. It would take the entire Moko horde to break through here. The fertile fields. Action during a conflict at this province. Draw a card. Inara no Kami smiles upon these lands. Akiko, priestess of the Inari. The Manitou Gardens. Action during a conflict at this province. Gain 1 fate. The perfect garden maintains all 5 elements in harmony. Yeah, extra fate's always helpful, right? And it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to lose them, because you can get other things to boost these as well. Meditations at the Tau. Action during a conflict at this province. Choose an attacking character and 1 fate from that character. Appreciation of beauty is the beginning of wisdom. The Tau of Xinshi. So that's cool, right? Someone attacks there, and now you can remove their fate. Now, it's not going to get rid of them immediately, but it means that, hey, it might sacrifice them at the end of the conflict. Night Raid reaction. After this province is revealed, your opponent chooses and discards X card from his or her hand. X equal to the number of attacking characters. Ooh, that's interesting. So the more guys they attack with, if they one of these ones, or if they risk attacking with 3 or 4 guys, because like we really need to win this, we really need to take out this province. They're gonna suffer for it, and by discarding a bunch of them cards, there's less cards to react with. Pilgrimage. During conflicts at this province, cancel all ring effects. If this province break, resolve the ring effects as normal. Neat. Rally to the cause. Reaction. After this province is revealed, switch the conflict type. So this doesn't even give you the option. It's going to automatically force it to switch. And then the last one we have is Shameful Display. Action during a conflict at this province, choose 2 participating characters, honor one of those characters, and dishonor the other. That's kind of neat. Then you can boost up your own, boost up minus somebody else. There might be a reason to dishonor one of your characters. They might gain a bonus for being dishonored. It's very possible. Probably not in the core set, but maybe in an expansion. So those are different provinces, which are different, and our strongholds, which are what we're trying to defend throughout the game. As you buy more expansions, you're going to get, I think generally each expansion pack has probably at least one or 2 unclanned ones for each color, and I think during a cycle, which is like 5 or 6, I think 6 packs, there usually ends up being at least one province or stronghold for each color. So as you buy like a full set of 6, which is like a little mini story, you will get enough of at least one of each type for every color. So then you'll start getting more and more options of stuff to do. Eventually, you could probably build an entire set of provinces of just your clan-specific cards. Alright, we are going to hop into the Dynasty cards. Now, this video is already pretty long. It's going to go a little bit longer than some of my normal videos, just because it's going to take a while to go through all these. But I'm not going to read through all the stats every time. You can see all those. But we're going to start off with our crabs. Now, it's going to go through all the crabs first, and then I'll go to the next clan and so on and so forth. So we're going to start with an Eater Scout. Very simple, 0 stat 0. We'll kind of set the next card, a card that'll pump him up. It says Bushi and Scout. The first to fight, the first to die. And Bushi, I believe, just basically means warrior. I think that's the general term for it. I can double check with that in between takes here. So we have Ihida Guardian, who also has Bushi as well. Action, well, this character is participating in a conflict. Choose another participating character. Until the end of the conflict, that character gets 2 military, 2 political might for each holding you control. So, this is one of them examples we show up in the first video. That, yeah, this guy's going to come in, he's not going to do a whole lot for you. But if you pair him up with this guy, now he can get +2 for each holding you have. So if you have only 1 holding, you can give him an additional 2. If he has 2 or 3 holding, you can give him 4 or 6. So very, very cool. neat way to boost up a simple guy. We have Caillou Envoy, or Envoy, who's also a Bushi, who has Courtesy ability. Says when this character leaves play, gain 1 fate. And Sincerity. When this character leaves play, draw a card. So this guy's just kind of meant to come in, and then you want to just have him leave play as soon as you can. Maybe have him come in, help out a conflict, or defend something. And then you can kind of leave, and he's going to give you an extra fate for him. Basically repay himself, and you'll get your card draw. Hirorama Yojimbo. So she's a Bushi and a Yojimbo. This character cannot be declared as an attacker. Enemies learn quickly. It was never wise to give her a reason to draw that awful blade. Alright. So yeah, this character cannot be declared as an attacker, which is very interesting. It has pretty high stats, but it's a good defender. So Yojimbo basically means bodyguard, and that's why it works with this ability as well. And I did look up Bushi really quick. Bushi is more or less the translation is warrior, which is why you get Bushido, which is like the art or the way of the warrior. It's just as a warrior bodyguard. And that's the only other different terms we kind of got in there so far. We got a couple other ones you get in there. So yeah, so once you kind of see some of these, you'll get some of them terms. So lots of the characters are Bushi, which means they're just warriors. To follow up with that directly is we have Shrewd Yusasti, which is a courtier. So courtiers are people that basically attend the court. So they tend to be, if the Bushi are your warriors, which are your guys that would be a lot more military conflict, your courtiers are your people that usually have more political ways of going. So it's a keyword that's going to lots of times just help quickly identify which direction they're going to go. So he has action. While this character is participating in a conflict, if there is a holding in play, look at the top 2 cards of your conflict deck. Add one of those cards to your hand and place the other on the bottom of your conflict deck. Ooh, so a little bit of deck manipulation. It does have the requirement of needing a holding, but that's not too bad either. What's nice about that is where the holdings are going to work. So I'm going to just kind of flip the one really quick. So when we get to a holding, they just automatically flip over when you flip over all your Dynasty cards, and then they'll be there. So you don't have to like play them or hunt them down. So it does actually kind of help out a little bit there. Alright, so then we have the Vanguard Warrior, who's another Bushi action. Sacrifice this character. Choose a character, place 1 fate on that character. You will have the time you need. Use it wisely. Oh, so that's kind of cool. So you can play this guy earlier, and then keep him out, and then you could sacrifice him to keep one of your other guys alive a little bit longer. Maybe just because you might decide you're worth keeping around for another turn. Maybe your opponent remove one of their fate. That's kind of fun. The Borderlands Defender. A little bit higher cost for getting here. I think they might go cost order, but it's another Bushi. Well, this character is defending. Opponent's card effects cannot bow or move it. Oh, so that could be very good. Even when faced with such hardship, the Crab Clan has never wavered, standing steadfast in its duty to protect the southern border of the Empire. Neat. Intimidating Higa. Another Bushi reaction. After an opponent passes on declaring a conflict, that player loses 1 honor. Is that all you got? Ooh. So keeping this guy around a little bit, just that way it's going to force your opponent to either lose honor or declare a conflict, which might actually be worse than them. They might have to decide if it's worth losing the honor or trying to jump in. Especially knowing if you have this guy sitting there as a defender, that could be very interesting. We have the Avengeable Berserker, who has no political power whatsoever. So Bushi and Berserker. Reaction. When after another character you control leaves play during conflict, double this character's military skill until the end of conflict. Ooh. So if they somehow remove one of your guys, this guy gets a double bonus. Neat. Alright, so we have our first unique character. We have Hida Tomonatsu. So this is a actual like person versus just kind of like a role. So she's a Bushi. She says reaction after this character wins a conflict. As a defender, sacrifice it. She's a non-unique attacking character. Return that character to the top of its owner's deck. Okay, cool. So basically, she comes in. She wins a conflict defending. She wanted to defend against something. You sacrifice her, but you get to remove one of your opponents as well. So it's also interesting to think about this. That means if you know you're going to defend with her, is do you put a bunch of extra faith on her to keep her around for a long time, knowing that you're going to sacrifice her if you defend. But that's also the thing, though, is if they defend and you play her your first turn and then they don't defend that, or they attack, but you don't have a reason to defend or you can't win, then she might go away. Or you try and play 3 and then the first turn you win, then you've lost 2 fate. So it's kind of interesting. Steadfast Witch Hunter. So we have a Shugenja for Earth. So Shugenja are, in like historical terms or layman's terms, they're practitioners. They're trying to find supernatural ways to protect, to do stuff with themselves or protect or influence the masses. They're trying to more or less like get favor with the kami or the gods to gain extra powers. So simplified terms for a game like this, which is, although it's trying to be fairly like realistic, if you take a little bit more fantastical approach to it as well, they're essentially magicians. They can use magical abilities or spellcasters. Citizens of the Earth style. So again, cards might trigger off of that. So she has action, sacrifice a friendly character, choose a character, ready that character. So cool, you can sacrifice one of your other characters. Maybe you played that 0-cost guy right off the bat. You can then use this person to sacrifice them to ready somebody else, and then they can be used in a second conflict. Shadowlands Taint can poison any soul. It is my duty to cleanse it from our ranks. We have another unique character. Kayu Shuchi. Bushi Engineer. Covert. When this character attacks, choose one character without covert. That character cannot be declared as a defender. Ooh, so basically you can get by somebody. Action during a conflict which this character is participating. If there's a holding in play, gain 1 fate. Nice. And there might not always be one, but if there is, cool. And then our last character for this set is Hida Kasada. So our big warrior here, Bushi and Champion. He has 7 and 2. Well, you have not lost a conflict. This phase cancel the effect of the first action ability your opponent triggers from a card during each conflict. So this is cool. So you're the first player. The first time you have a conflict, your opponent cannot use anything because you haven't lost anything yet. And if you win that one, then when they have their turn to go attack you, their first action again is automatically denied. So if they want to do something, they still have to perform an action, and then it's canceled, and then they can perform a second one. So that's kind of a cool idea. So yeah, the longer he stays out, definitely the better for you. Then we have some holdings that go with this. So we have Borderlands Fortifications. This is a battlefield. This will boost up your provinces by 2. Action: choose a card. Choose a card on one of your provinces. Switch this holding with that card. So this is kind of cool because then you can move that to wherever you need it to be. So maybe if you have a broken province, that'd definitely help. You could move this to a better one. Or you could switch it to like one that's being attacked that turn and then give it a +2 bonus. Then we also have Funeral Pyre. Action: sacrifice a friendly character to draw a card. We speed our fall into the Amigo that they do not rise again. So this could be very helpful, right? Again, you have a guy that's maybe on their last fate. They're going to go away anyhow. Managed to get a card out of them. Alright, those are our crabs. We're going to jump in to look at our crane, which are definitely a more political group. So we have the Ishani Artisan, who is a Shininja heir. Action, during a conflict battle, this character choose another crane character. That character gets +3 political till the end of conflict. So kind of like our other guy had 0 cost and had 0 stats. She costs 1, but she has a really cool ability. We have the Doji Whisperer, it's a courtier. Lean closer, I might tell you something that only the Willows would hear. So again, if we look at, if we boost these first 2 cards, kind of work together. Also, you boost her now, she has 6 political might if you boosted her with this one. So that's pretty cool. Or you could give this person also 3 and have 2 characters that have, although she'd be bowed, so she wouldn't be usable anymore. Yeah, you can boost her up to 6. That's quite a big difference. Also, your opponent has to overcome. We have Brash Samurai. Action, when this character is your only participating character in a conflict, honor this character. A samurai lives all the time 3 feet from death. Length of a sword is the idea there. So that's pretty cool. If he goes in by himself, he gets an extra little bonus. Cautious Scout, Bushi and Scout. While this character is attacking alone, treat the defending province as if its printed text box were blank except for traits. They told him to be careful, but there was only one way to know for sure. Ooh. So these guys are getting some bonuses for attacking by themselves, which means they're not going to have a lot of military might, but them extra bonuses might offset that and make it a little bit easier. The Doji Gift Giver. Another courtier. Action. While this character is participating in a conflict, give your opponent 1 fate. That opponent must choose a ready participating character he or she controls and bow that character. Ooh. So basically you're going to give them a fate, give them one of your fate, for the fact is now that person can't compete. So they have to also lose someone. So they're probably going to lose whoever their weakest person is, but that 1-2 points they give that person could definitely give you the victory. Savvy Politician. Another courtier. Reaction. If this character is honored, choose a character and honor that character. For each of her accomplishments, she deferred the praise to those around her. This is in the manner their loyalty was secured. Nice. So if you can honor her, she can choose and honor somebody else. She can boost up somebody else around her. Let's see if I can get this one. Daidoji Nishirama. Bushi and Scout. Action. Choose a face down card in one of your provinces. Turn that card face up. It's an ambush. Be ready. Oh, so that's fun. Because after you play a card during your turn, your province, you play a new card and it gets turned face down. So let you flip that face up. You're not going to be able to necessarily play that card, but it could be a holding that all of a sudden pops up and gives you a bonus. The Doji Challenger. Bushi, and we have Duelist. Action. When this character is attacking, you may choose a character controlled by an opponent, move that character to this conflict. So you can bring one of their guys in, which is great, because like if you know you're going to win, pull one of their characters in, now they can't use them during their next conflict. I hope you are prepared to defend with your words, as with steel. Alright, we have a unique character, Kakeda Asumi, who's a courtier. Action. When this character is participating in a political conflict, if you count more current political skill in the conflict than your opponent, take 1 honor from that opponent. Ooh. So at the moment you do it, so this is kind of neat. When you do your actions back and forth, you have to keep saying what you do. So like currently, if she played by herself, you'd have 3. And you'd be like, I have 3. If your opponent also has 3, you wouldn't probably use the ability. But then if you boosted your character, let's say that first card we had, you gave an additional 3. Now you have 6. Then when it comes back down to your turn to use an action, your opponent does something they can't boost any higher. You could go ahead and use this ability. Now you might probably going to win, but but you could take one of your honor from your opponent. Then even if it turns around they played something after that, they removed this character or removed the other one or whatever, or gave them more might, you still have that option to win that. So that's pretty cool. We have Kakaida Kaizen, who's a Bushi duelist and a Kenshizen action. When this character is participating in a conflict, your opponent must choose a participating character he or she controls. Challenge that character to a duel. If this character wins, move each character not involved in the duel home. If it loses, send it home. For the coward, there is no life. For the hero, there is no death. So this person gets to perform a duel, which is a special action. So I'm going to jump into the book here, and we're going to look at that really quick. Some cards have the ability to cause two characters to duel. Identify the characters involved and the type of skill being used. That will be indicated by the card it started the duel. Each player secretly bids an amount of honor on their guile. If reveal their guile, the player with the higher bid must give the amount of honor equal to the difference between the two to the player with the lower bid. If the bids are tied, no honor is exchanged. Each player adds their bids to the relevant skill of the character they control in the duel. Character with a higher skill wins a duel. If the skill values are the same, neither player wins and neither loses. Follow the instructions to apply. So kind of interesting. So it's like if you bid 2 and your opponent bids 5, they have to give you 3 honor. But it's going to give them a higher advantage in the thing. So they kind of have to decide what's the difference. So if like this guy was doing a military conflict and he already had 3, you could give bid 3 and now he's going up to 6. So your opponent would have to either spend enough points, depending on what character is defending, to either get up to 6 to tie them, or go higher. So they might have having to spend a lot of honor to not lose this battle. It says if this character wins, move each character not involved in the duel home. If it loses, just send it home. So this is kind of interesting because basically you can pick one of their other characters in the conflict. You can basically duel against them, potentially send both this character and that character home if you win it. Yeah, so interesting. Get some out of the conflict. Alright, we have a Ashana Storyteller, a Courtier, Shinjinja, Shujeng. Oh, I'm going to keep saying that wrong. I'm going to stop saying it. Air. He has sincerity. When this character leaves play, draw a card. Each honored crane you control gains sincerity. So that's kind of cool. So you can honor a bunch of guys. Guest of Honor. Courtier. When this character is participating in a conflict, opponents cannot play events. Oh. You wouldn't want to disgrace yourself in front of your distinguished guests, would you? Dojo Hataru. Bushi Champions. We have another champion here. Reaction. When you claim a ring during a political conflict in which this character is participating, resolve that ring's effect. Nice. We're not for the rule of Ko. We will be trapped in this game for eternity. We are nearly perfectly matched. She has 6 political. That's nuts. Alright, then we have Artisan Academy. So this is an Academy holding action during the conflict phase with the top card of your conflict deck. Until the end of the phase, you may play a card as if it were in your hand. Ooh, that's fun. And it stays up until it basically gets defeated or removed somehow. Alright, so that's all we have. So then we got 1. So this is also what's interesting about the game. Each time you have different setups. Not every character is going to have the same not every clan is going to have the same number of characters, same number of this type of character, same number of this and that, same number of holdings, things like that. So it does make that pretty interesting. I do think we're not going to be able to do this all in one video. This is taking a lot longer to go through these than I thought it would. So we'll probably end up doing a 2-part video for this. So we'll probably go through the Dragon Clan here and save the last 4, since the holdings and stuff, or the strongholds and provinces took a little bit longer. Alright, so we have Doomed Shugenja. Shugenja for the Dragon Clans. So Shugenja Fire. Limited. No more than one limited card can be in play by each player each round. So this does kind of make a little bit more powerful characters, because it's our other first characters, right, had zeros and like ones. She has threes, but you can't play multiple of these guys. You cannot place bait on this character on his play from one of your provinces. So cool. So it's a very powerful character that just comes out, hits for one turn, and then is done. We have Togashi Initiate. Monk and Tattooed. So Tattooed is a very common keyword amongst the Dragon Clan, as well as monks. Action: as characters attacking, spend one fate to an unclaimed ring. Honor this character. What is Wisdom? That's fun. So you can basically boost him up by spending some extra honor. Agasha Swordsmith. Shugenja Fire. Action: search the top 5 cards of your conflict for a conflict deck for an attachment, reveal it, add to your hand, and shuffle. So yeah, green or dragon is going to play a lot with attachments, which is really fun if you like doing that. Miramoto Prodigy. Bushi and Gulas. While his characters attacking alone, your opponent cannot declare more than one defender. Each new opponent showed her more of herself. So nice. So if she attack alone, you can at least like maybe hold the battle back a little bit. Nyeteng Adept. Another Bushi. Action: while his characters participating in a conflict, bow a friendly attachment on it. Choose a participating character without attachments, bow that character. Oh, you don't have to bow him, you just have to bow one of your attachments, which makes it unusable. But yeah, then you can stop somebody else from doing something. Seeker of Enlightenment. Monk and Tattoo. This character gets +1 military, +1 political for each fate on each unclaimed ring. What is not Wisdom? Oh, so that's fun. So if we look back at this guy, what is Wisdom? So while he's attacking, you get add 1 fate to an unclaimed ring to honor him. And then this one, what is not Wisdom, gets +1 for each fate on each unclaimed ring. So basically that guy is going to boost up this one. That's pretty cool. The Enlightened Warrior. Reaction: after an opponent selects a ring with fate on it, hey, another one. Place 1 fate on this character. In heart, air. In spirit, earth. In sword, fire. In body, water. In mind, void. So the 5 elements. That's cool. They got bonuses for placing an extra fate down there. Kitsuke Investigator, a courtier. So I haven't seen many of these guys in here. Action: while this character is participating in a political conflict, spend 1 fate to an unclaimed ring. Look at your opponent's hand, choose one of those cards and discard it. Max 1 per conflict. Oh, that's nice. Limit what they have actions to do. Our first unique character is Miramoto Ratsuku. Bushi and Duelist. Action: while this character is participating in a conflict, choose a participating character controlled by your opponent. Challenge that character in a military duel. If the loser of the duel has no fate on it, discard it. Otherwise, remove 1 fate from it. So that's neat. The other duel we had took them out of the battle, right? This one, they're going to remove fate or get removed from the game. So kind of cool. So, yeah, that's pretty fun. Aesthetic Visionary. Monk Tattooed. No attachments except Monk or Tattooed. Okay, so you can only have specific cards. Action: while this character is attacking, spend 1 fate on an unclaimed ring. Choose a Monk character or a character with a Monk attachment. Ready that character. So this is kind of fun. This is one of the first cards you've had that's referenced another card type. So yeah, you just gotta go ahead and boost up some guys. Nyeteng Master. Bushi. Reaction: after you attach a weapon attachment to this character, ready this character. Limit twice per round. So this guy's going to get a bonus from having weapons. If you attach a weapon. Yeah, so basically, like, attack with him. Like, do conflict 1, right? You can throw a weapon on him. Now he's ready for the next conflict. And then if he gets bowed during that one, you can use him for the next one. Nice. Togashi Yukuni. Bushi, Shugenja, and Champion. Action. Choose a triggered ability printed on another character. This character gains that ability until the end of round. Wow. Very interesting. So yeah, it's a triggered ability printed on another character. It transpires air mountains as mere pebbles against the avalanche that is coming. So what other triggered abilities do we have? So, like, I think the reactions are all our triggered abilities. I believe that's the only ones I can think of that would be called triggered. Let's see if they list specifically in here. Triggered ability is an ability that initiated at a specific point in the game. Players controlling a card has the option to trigger its ability or not. Forced abilities are the exception to this game. Each instance of a triggered ability per copy of a card may be triggered once per each game round unless otherwise noted by itself. There are 3 basic types of triggered: actions, interrupts, and reactions. Actions may be triggered by a player during the events. Okay, so basically, this guy's to copy any card that says reaction, interrupt, or action. So as long as it's not like a static ability on the card. Like this person has a static ability. So you can't copy that. But you can copy any of these other actions. He doesn't get this bonus. So that's pretty cool. Alright, then we have a holding here. We have the Secluded Temple reaction. Shrine. After a conflict phase begins, each opponent who controls more characters than you must choose a character he or she controls with 1 or more fate on it and remove 1 fate from each chosen character. Oh, basically punishing people for having a bunch of extra characters. Alright, that is cool. Alright, so that's what we have. I think we're going to end the video here. We're actually going to do a part 3, which would be part 2 for the Dynasty deck, because we still have our Lions, our Phoenixes, our Scorpions, our Unicorns, and our Unclaimed cards to go through. Otherwise, this video is already getting pretty long, and I don't want to go super long with it. So yeah, come back, check out part 3 where we see the rest of the Dynasty cards. And then hopefully maybe we can get through all the conflict in 1, but we might break that up into 2 as well. See you guys later. Bye.